So we have already cut the head off of this chicken, and yes, they will continue to flop and move around. We normally leave them on the cone to let the blood drain out. Here we're dipping the chicken in 150-degree water, ranging anywhere from 20 to 40 seconds. You want to continue to lift the chicken in and out and check the pin feathers, feathers on the ends of the wings. And when they come out easy, then the bird is ready to be moved over to the plucker. If you check and they don't come out easy, like here, then keep dipping it in the water until they come out easy. And then you can move the chicken over to the plucker. 140 degrees is too low, 160 is too high, and the skin will rip. Here we are putting the chicken into the plucker. It takes about 10 to 15 seconds per bird. We do have to have the water running in there while the chicken is spinning around. And here I'm showing you how to cut the feet off. If you bend the foot back and just kind of go right there, there's a joint in there. You can easily slice the feet off and discard them, or you can save them and use them for stock. I personally never have because it's a hassle, but some people do save the feet. Right here underneath the breastbone is some extra skin. So cut right there along the top of the skin. Be careful not to puncture any of the organs on the inside. Just kind of follow that bone down on the sides, on each side. And like I said, be sure not to cut any of the organs on the inside. And you can see I'm kind of pulling on that membrane there. I'll flip the chicken over. That little piece right there is an oil gland. You do not want to cut that. Cut a slit up each side. You can go ahead and cut across right there as well to cut the tail off, or you can wait to do that. Right here there's a bone, and you want to kind of cut down the side, again, not to puncture any of the internal organs. And you want to do that again on the other side. Here I have flipped the bird over. I'm grabbing the extra skin on the neck. You want to kind of fillet around that neck skin. That way you can separate the esophagus and all of that from the neck. I normally go around the front and the back, just makes it easier, and then I'll kind of pull that skin around. A lot of times I'll go ahead and just trim that skin off to get it out of the way. Right here where I am pulling is the crop. When the chicken eats, their food kind of gets stored right there for a minute. This one is empty because we actually withheld food prior to processing. You do not want to process chickens after they've eaten. Their crop will be so full of food and everything else, and it just makes a giant mess. So right here you can see I'm kind of separating the esophagus and all from the skin. Chickens have a lot of membrane around that you have to separate. So I'm grabbing a hold of the neck right here. I show you here how I do it with a knife, but a lot of times I will just take my big kitchen shears and just kind of snip that off. But if you're using a knife, you can cut a little on one side, a little on the other side, and along the back, and then you can just kind of twist it and it'll come right off. Here, I'm reaching inside the chicken. There's a membrane in there. You want to kind of just drag your fingers around and separate that membrane from the inside of the rib cage and everywhere else. Being sure not to just kind of rip the organs open, but if you can get your hand far enough up in there, you can grab and pull the esophagus and everything out all at one time, which is what I'm trying to do now. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. 90% of the time, if I can break that membrane loose enough, I can pull everything out all at one time. So you just kind of grab and pull everything out. There I'm grabbing the rest of the neck fat and everything else up there, trying to shove it back through and pull it. Those two things right there are the lungs. They are pink. They are attached inside along that rib cage right there. You want to kind of drag from the side in, get your fingernails in there and just kind of scrape them out. They do have lung scrapers, but I find my fingers work just as well. There's one on each side, so be sure to get them both. That right there is the gizzard. You can cut that off, cut it open and clean it out. There is a nasty, gristly yellow part on the inside you have to rip off. That's the liver. And there's the heart. On the inside there, you see that little green sac. That is the gallbladder. You do not want to puncture that at all. If you puncture that, then anything that bile gets on is going to be ruined. So be sure not to puncture that. Here I'm just kind of going down the side and around the butt down there. So you can go ahead and kind of cut around. Like I said before, sometimes I go ahead and cut on the back part. Sometimes I don't. Just kind of depends on the chicken and how they're shaped. But you can go ahead and cut all of that off and give your chicken a good rinse, and it's all clean.